My name is Dana Mauro. My husband has 2 rare diseases that he was diagnosed with 15 years ago. And since then, we have spent a lot of time at the doctor's office. A lot of time.
Welcome to the Did You Know podcast, where the focus is on rare diseases, how modern medicine is treating these conditions, including the latest breakthroughs in research, and how people cope with their diagnosis and healing. Your host is Dana Mauro, known for her video series on YouTube, Twitter, and Facebook called Did You Know Ataxia Facts? 300 videos have been produced and seen in 17 countries to date. And now, your host, Dana Mauro.
Hi, everybody. I want to talk to you today about how to maximize the time you spend with your doctor. My name is Dana Mauro. My husband has 2 rare diseases that he was diagnosed with 15 years ago. And since then, we have spent a lot of time at the doctor's office. A lot of time. So my intent today is to share strategies with you that we have implemented to help us maximize the time we spend at the doctor's office. And my hope is that you will find some of these helpful and implement them as well. There are 4 things I want to talk to you about today. One is journaling, how to journal, when to journal, how often to journal. I also want to talk to you about creating a centralized repository for all of your medical information, how to prepare in advance for your doctor's visit, and most importantly, how to retain the information that's discussed during that visit. So let's get started. First up is journaling. So as I said, when to journal, how to journal, what to journal, all of these are important. What I want to just emphasize here is consistency is the key. So the mode of journaling isn't as important as what you journal and how often you journal. You want to make sure that whatever mode you pick, that it is simple, but it tells a story. It has to be simple or you're not going to stick to it and you're not going to do it, and then it's going to be invaluable, right? You're not going to have a consistent data point, and that's really what you're looking for. So you could write in a notebook. That could be a journal. You could use Dragon Naturally Speaking on the computer. You could use your mobile device and use the voice recorder or the notes section. And you can also supplement with fitness apps that track your heart rate and your sleep patterns. All of that is great, but what you write is even more important. So let me give you some ideas on that. So I journal every day. I think that that's critical to do because it shows patterns, it shows progression, and it also shows trends. And those are very important for the doctor. You know, let's face it, sometimes there are months in between doctor appointments, and most often the doctor's going to want to know what's new, what's happened since the last time I saw you. And so by journaling every day, you're going to see trends, and you're also going to see things that may have progressed, and you can express those to the doctor. So it's really important. Now let's talk about what you put in this journal. So some recommendations that I have for you. I put the date on every page. That helps me to know that I'm, keeping with this and I'm being consistent every day. And then I put one word at the top of the page, either good or bad, to summarize the entire day. So it was either a good day or it was a bad day. I also will record how he felt that day, both physically and mentally, because they tell 2 very different sides of the story. So he could have had a really great day physically, but mentally he could have been struggling. Maybe he was struggling to find words to contribute to a conversation he was having, or maybe he was just depressed that day. I also record weather because I've noticed patterns that, when the weather is a certain way, it affects his symptoms. It makes his symptoms worse. I record what he ate and drank that day, and if it was out of the ordinary. I also record stresses of that day, like were there any stressful situations that occurred and how did he react to them? So those are things that I keep, and I would encourage you to do the same. And as I say, you need to do it on a consistent basis because that's when you're really going to see the benefit of doing this, and you're really going to notice those trends. So now let's talk about centralizing all your medical information. Well, what do you keep? How long do you keep it? What type of organization am I speaking about? And most importantly, how transportable is it? So here's what I would say about what to keep. Keep everything. Any doctor visit you go to, you want to ask for a summary. You file that away. If you get any test, you want to ask for your test results and you file that. Any MRI, CAT scan, x-rays, blood work, anything that you have, it's your medical information. You are entitled to it all, and you should have it all in your possession. They can burn it to a CD, they can put it on a stick, they can give you, printed out notes. You don't want to leave a doctor visit without asking for that information. You want to have all of your medical information. And then you can organize it in a filing system. You can organize it in a 3-ring binder, in a notebook, whatever works for you. But what you want to be able to do is you want to be able to take that information with you to a doctor appointment if you need to. Now, one of the things that is hard to believe is that in today's day and age, most offices are connected through a portal, but not all. And so I've been in the situation where I've gone to a specialist and that specialist isn't connected to my doctor's network. So they don't have the test results that they need in order to evaluate the situation. So I've learned over time that if I have all of that, a hard copy of all of that in my possession, then I can simply take it with me to that appointment and then provide it to the doctor if they need a copy. So transportability is really the key in that, but you just want to keep all of your medical information because it is your information. So now once you've been keeping your journal and you have all your centralized information and a week or so before it's time for your appointment, that's when you want to prepare. You want to prepare in advance for this appointment. And one of the ways that I do that is I go through my journal and I look for those trends. I look for themes. I want to summarize what has happened, what's new, what's different, what has gotten worse. All of that's going to be evident in the journal. And so it doesn't take a lot of time. I'm not talking like you're preparing for an exam. You're just thumbing through your journal and you're looking for those things that jump out at you that you really want to talk to the doctor about. Then what I do is I gather any other data I think I might need for the appointment, like any test results or scans that I might need. And I make sure that I have that also put together with my summary of the last 6 months. And then what I do is I sit down and I come up with a list of questions. And I, prioritize those questions in order of importance, because inevitably you're going to run out of time in that appointment. So you want to make sure that all your most pressing questions get answered first. So it doesn't take a lot of time and effort, but I give myself a week ahead of the appointment so that I can, work on it leisurely and I don't have to cram to get this all done in one night. But preparing for that appointment really is very helpful because, it makes it go a lot more smoothly, and I feel like I'm more in control of the conversation and where I want it to go. I can lead it in that direction because I've prepared. And lastly, how do you retain all this information? So one of the things that I noticed is with any kind of prognosis, you're consumed by the prognosis, right? And so then you go to the doctor visit and they're throwing all this jargon at you and all these acronyms and all this medical terminology, and literally you're sitting there and you're nodding and you're smiling, but you're not absorbing anything. And you leave that appointment and you're like, what the heck just happened? I have no idea what they said. I don't know what they told me to do. I don't even know the medication that they told me that I need to be taking. And so here's a couple of tips to help with that. Bring someone with you. Bring another set of ears to the appointment. Somebody else that can listen in, maybe take notes. Somebody who's not as personally involved, right? They're more objective. They can listen to things and, and just have a different perspective. Also, ask the doctor if you can record the appointment. We all have a phone in our pockets that has a voice recorder. Most doctors will allow you to record the appointment. It is really helpful because when you get home, you can stop that recording, you can rewind, you can fast forward, you can Google while you're listening to it. It's just really helpful. And most doctors don't have a problem with it, so ask if you can record the appointment. Also ask the doctor if there are other appointment options. Are you able to do a telehealth appointment next time? And then you can have other people in your family listen into the conversation. And before you leave, ask for your office visit summary so that you have a handwritten copy of next steps. It's really, really helpful. So in closing, I just want to summarize what we talked about here today, and that is the importance of journaling. Journal every day. Keep it simple so that you can be consistent with it. You want to capture things that will show themes, that will show progression, and that will show, just what's been going on. We'll give a good synopsis, a summary of what's been going on. You also want to make sure that you're keeping your medical information in a central location and that it's transportable. You want to be able to bring that with you. You want to prepare in advance for your doctor's appointment, making sure that you write all of your burning questions down and you prioritize them so that if you do run out of time in the appointment, all of your important questions have already been answered. And then last but not least, ask to record that doctor appointment. Because you know what? Most doctors will let you, and it will just be so valuable to have after the fact so that you can re-listen to what the conversation was with the doctor. So I hope you found this information helpful, and I hope you found a few things that you can implement for yourself. Thanks so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.